What's up, everybody? All my fellow YouTube heads out there in YouTube land. Evil Eddie coming at you today, also known as Cyber Ray 1976, and we're coming at you from the horror room of Scotty Slasher. And with me today is Super ECW fan, also known as Huey.
Yeah.
And just going to show you a few things. This is going to be a DVD Blu-ray update. I want to show you a few things that I picked up here within the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to save a little something extra special to show you till the very end. A little something I found ordered offline, and I thought it was pretty cool, so I thought I'd go ahead and include it in this video. And we're going to maybe watch a video tonight with Scott and Huey and myself and check out The Signal, which, if you haven't seen The Signal, it's a very cool movie, very underrated movie. You never really hear much about it, but it's very good. It's kind of like an anthology. It's 3 different tales told from 3 different perspectives, but all having to do with the same thing. It's kind of like a cross between 28 Days Later meets Dawn of the Dead meets 12 Monkeys.
That's pretty cool.
And neither one of us ever got to see it. I said you got to check it out, so I decided to bring it down today. We'll maybe check it out a little later. But let's go ahead and jump right into it, and I'll show you what I picked up here recently. I haven't picked up too much, 10 movies altogether. Very first thing I want to show you, kick it off. I can't think of a better way to kick it off than this right here. This is The Walking Dead Season 1, and this is the new series that's on AMC right now, that's based on the best-selling graphic novel comic book series by Robert Kirkman, whom I got to meet last year, by the way. Really nice guy. I've seen every episode of this series so far. It's very, very good. It doesn't go exactly with the comic book series, but it's very close. It's not, it's not frame for frame like the way Sin City was, but it's a very good adaptation of the comic book series.
That the lady, the main star, the woman that she was on the online, and she said they're not going to get to the prison in the next season.
Well, they shouldn't, because in the comic book they don't get to the prison until like issue up in the late 40s and early 50s. So they've got a ways to go yet. They shouldn't get to the prison until really about season 3 or 4.
She said by season 3 they'll probably make it to the prison, but they're going to probably get to Herschel's farm. And she talked about, she said there's more different changes coming. There's it's not, I know that Durpot, wherever that guy, Frank, starts with a D, I don't want to misspell it.
Oh, Frank Darabont.
Yeah, Darabont. Yeah. He says he wants to bring in Michonne earlier than when she showed up in the comics. So he's going to bring her in earlier.
Yeah. Well, speaking of good series, good television series, this one is from the 80s. This one's one I grew up watching back in the day, back in around 82, 83, when it first debuted. This is V, the original miniseries. I can remember going down to my grandparents' house as a kid and just coming on late at night and staying up watching this. And, it was pretty freaky back in the day when you're 7 years old watching this stuff, and those people's tearing their faces off, and they have lizard faces and eating people. It's pretty freaky when you're a kid. And I found this at a pawn shop for a couple bucks. I was like, I'm gonna pick this up. Go take a stroll down memory lane.
Did you watch the new one, the revamp?
What?
The revamp of the...
I watched the first couple episodes of it and didn't care much for it.
I mean, the one episode was so beyond ridiculous. I mean, there was so much pacing wrong with it. Like the invade, and by the end of the first episode, he's like, I will lead an invasion against him. And I was like, what are you going to do in the next episode? Become general? Drop a bomb on him? I mean, she went from like doubting their existence and really being, you know, a nice reporter woman to like, we have to rally the troops and lead it.
Yeah, it did. It felt a little fast paced for me, and I picked up on that too. And I didn't care much for it. But speaking of aliens from outer space, pick this up. This is the Critter collection. Has all 4 of the Critter movies, which I liked a lot. I used to have these on VHS, but Scott has them now. So I went ahead and I found this up at the mall. Got this for pretty cheap. I think it was only $14. I picked it up.
Critter.
I really like. Actually, I liked all the Critters movies. The first 2 was my favorite. 3 was good. 4 was pretty good. But the first 2, nothing touches the first 2. But, yeah, you gotta love the Critters, man.
Don't tell Hollywood that, they'll remake it.
Oh, you know it's coming. You know it's just right around it's right on the Hollywood to-do list.
Yeah, they have to remake everything.
And speaking of critters, well, these are a different kind of critters. These are Gremlins. Gremlins Part 2, the new batch, which I think is one of the most underrated sequels of all time. I know this one kind of gets overlooked a lot. People kind of crap on this one, but I think Gremlins 2 is actually a really good sequel.
How can you diss Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
The Holster brother ripping off the shirt and telling the Gremlins, you can get that protractor rolling, brother. I'll get up there and tear the 24-inch pythons into you.
Okay, let's see. Moving on down the line here. Picked up The Bunker. I found this at a pawn shop for a couple bucks. This movie always intrigued me. I remember seeing this in a video store all the time, but never rented it for some reason. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pick this up and check it out. I've always wanted to see it. We watched it a few nights ago. And it's not for everybody. I'll tell you this now. If you think this movie is about zombies or ghosts or more straightforward horror, it's not. This is a thinking man's horror film. It's more psychological horror. It's really well written, and it makes you think. It's not your typical boo in your face type of scares. It's like I say, it's more psychological horror. It's what you don't see more than what you do see. That's scary about it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's if you're expecting a gory slasher, undead, ghost movie, it's not going to do it.
Yeah.
But if you're expecting a movie that's really going to make you think and make you really wonder how real it is, whether these people really saw this or whether they experienced it, and yeah, it's a good movie for that.
If that's more like what you're looking for, if that's more your type of horror movie, something a little more makes the gears turning, then check out The Bunker. The dead don't pick sides.
And a little treat for people, one of the main stars in that movie actually went on to play in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He played Dr. Jekyll.
Yeah.
Mr. Hyde.
Yeah. I thought that was very cool that he showed up in that. Alright, and moving right on down the line here. Scott hadn't seen this yet.
It's pretty nice.
I picked up The Critters and a lot of
Was that part 3, 4, and 5?
This is the Silent Night, Deadly Night 3-disc set. Includes Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 3, 4, and 5. Part 3, which stars Bill Moseley, which probably many of you know from The Devil's Rejects and The House of a Thousand Corpses, and he played Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw 2, and he was in the Night of the Living Dead remake. One of his earliest roles is in Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. And I thought Part 4 stars Reggie Bannister from the Phantasm film series and Bubba Hotep. And part 5,
Clint Howard too.
Clint Howard, that's right. Clint Howard from the Ice Cream Man. He's been in a lot of low budget B-grade horror movies. And part 5 stars Mickey Rooney. I just thought that was kind of like an odd choice to be in a horror film. But yeah, I have the first Silent Night, Deadly Night. I don't have the second one because the second one is
So good it's bad.
Yeah,
Or so bad it's good. Yeah.
that's the
I like
perfect-
it though now. I used to hate it, but it's so funny.
It's the perfect bad, so bad it's good movie. It's Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
I think that's kind of odd that Mickey Rooney would be that because at one time he was like, "Bang smack, biggest star in the world." He used to tell Dana Carvey, "I was the biggest star in the world." That's what Dana Carvey does that all the time. He can do that impression spot on.
Oh man.
And if Eric Freeman, if you're out there, man, give us a shout.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would
We'll
love
put you
to.
in video.
We need to do lunch sometime, Eric Freeman. If you're watching this, get in contact with us, man. I will pay for your meal.
That guy's disappeared off the face of the earth.
He
Eric
has.
Freeman.
I think he did Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, and I think he did a couple of
TV shows?
TV shows back in the 80s,
Yeah.
and he hasn't been heard from since. And man, I would just like to shake his hand and just have lunch with him one day. Moving on, let's switch gears here a little bit. What do you think, Huey? What do you want to show next?
I don't know. I never did see your movies. I just I've just been waiting in anticipation.
Let's switch over. Let's do some comedy. Picked this up recently at a pawn shop. Got this for a few bucks too. It's Wayne's World 1 and 2. It's in a double feature. Comes with a bonus bottle opener. Thought that was cool. Yeah, I once thought I had mono for an entire year. It turned out I was just really bored.
Is the bottle opener still in there?
Yeah.
Is it?
No.
Dang.
You know, I always liked the best part of Wayne's World to me was when Ed O'Neill is under the donut shop and he's like, and all of a sudden the camera pans to him and he's talking about his ex-wife and he's like, and he starts going off into that like rant. He's like, I knew her and I had my ex, and he like finally Wayne's like, come back to Shaw, man, come back to me, and he's like. It was just funny. I always liked that Ed O'Neill deal.
Yeah. It's been so long since I've watched these. I watched these when they very first came out back in the 90s. Of course, I was a fan of Saturday Night Live too back in the day, early to mid 90s.
Oh, plus a lot's changed since then.
Yeah, a lot.
I mean, now you've got pubes.
That's true.
It's a good running joke.
That's
through
true.
The Wayne's World.
But I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching these again after so long. I remember watching these the first time and I thought they were hilarious. So.
I always like when Garth hooked up with what's her name in part 2. Who was that model he hooked up with?
Tia Carew.
No, it was Garth.
Nagar.
Oh, remember the hot,
The blonde.
the blonde? Wasn't it Heather Locklear or one of them?
It's one of them.
And he's like, he all of a sudden he walks out like smoking a pipe and he's
Yeah.
like, party on.
Let's see. Okay, we got 3 left here. We'll save the best for last. I picked this up just today, actually. This is a show, come on back in the early 80s, around 82, 83. I used to watch this a lot when I was a kid. I thought it was really cool growing up. I like the show a lot. It's called The Greatest American Hero. This is the complete series. It's on 9 discs. It's all 43 episodes. I got this for $10 today. I thought this was such a great deal. There's no way I could pass this up. I'm looking forward to watching these again. Like I said, I used to love to watch this as a kid. And it's about a school teacher who finds this suit. It's like a super suit that enables him to fly, gives him all these superpowers. But he loses the instruction manual to the suit, and he never can figure out quite how to land. He's always crashing into buildings. But he's kind of like a goof, but he ends up kind of saving the day too in the end. But it's just a really good family, wholehearted adventure TV show that was on Wonder Woman and Incredible Hulk and all those TV shows that were.
Yeah, like Battlestar Galactica. Remember it?
So I thought this was a really good deal. The complete series for $10. I was like, wow, there's no way I can't pass that up. It's such a good show for such a low price. All right. This is Who is the Deadliest Warrior? This show airs on Spike TV. And they're in their second season right now. This is the complete first season. I recently started watching this show. I never knew anything about it until just recently. I watched one episode, and I was hooked. I had to watch another one, and then another one, and then another one. And what this is basically they'll take two warriors from different time periods, from different parts of the world. It could be anywhere from thousands of years ago up to in recent years, and pit them against one another. And they will examine each fighter's fighting techniques and weapons and everything, and show you all there is to know about each fighter. And then they'll put all the data in the computer at the end and run it through like 1,000 different simulations. And in the end, they'll actually play out the one that is the most, I guess, the most common, the one that most likely the way it would be played out. That's very cool. They'll do like for instance in the very first season here, they have like an Apache chief Indian up against the gladiator Viking taking on a samurai Spartan, going up against a ninja, a pirate going up against a knight, the Shaolin monk up against a Morai warrior, Yakuza going up against the Mafia, the IRA going up against the Taliban, stuff like that. And it just keeps getting better and better because I watched a lot of episodes from season 2 recently, and it's very, they're getting better and better. It's very, very cool. And at the very end of the episode, they'll actually play the whole thing out in like this little movie, and show you how the fight most likely would have went down if the two ever did actually meet in real battle. It's very, very cool.
I got an idea for season 3 of that.
What's that?
Okay. In the Deadliest Warrior, on one side you could have Mel Gibson, because he's went crazy, and you have him versus Charlie Sheen and Tiger Blood. I mean, just think about it. Like, who would win that? They're both fucking insane. And I mean, just imagine the battle. Tiger Blood versus Mel Gibson. Jesus.
That's the Tiger Blood versus very high alcoholic blood, and Charlie Sheen would bring out his warlock powers to take him down. I think.
That and Charlie Sheen got an edge because he's got the goddesses.
That he does. That's true. He lives with the goddesses.
He got those goddesses.
He can always call on them for backup.
They're his valets.
And the last movie I want to show you in this update is actually a Blu-ray, and I saved it for last because it's a Blu-ray and it's pretty cool. I picked up the newest animated feature film from DC Comics. This is the All-Star Superman, and this 2-hour movie is based on the 12-issue miniseries of the same name, All-Star Superman. And we just recently watched this too, and I'm kind of in between. It's not the best one that DC's put out, but it's not the worst either by any means. It's very good. The animation's very good. The voice direction's very good. I like most everything about it. I just kind of felt like they could have done a part 2, kind of split it up. I felt like they tried to cram way too much into 2 hours worth of storytelling. There's no real focal point for the entire film. There's no, it's just the plot just kind of like jumped from here to here to here to here to here. It's like they never really could decide on where they wanted to take the story, what they wanted to focus the main plot on, and I just felt like it would have went a little smoother if they had just chopped it up into 2 parts and did like All-Star Superman and All-Star Superman 2. It would have been better. Don't you feel the same way, Huey?
Well, it was 12 issues, and there was really more that they left out. There's scenes where in All-Star Superman, since I got all 12 issues, where Superman goes back and sees his dad, Jonathan Kent, die. And they left that part out because I guess they realized it would bum the audience out. And there's, but as an overall movie, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good adaptation of that series for what they could push in and what they could do. The overall plot is Superman is dying. Lex Luthor's plan. Like he says he got it word for word right. In the comic books, Luthor says, "I'm getting older, and he's not, and he's got to kill him." And so, at the overall plot is Superman is dying by Lex Luthor's hands, and there's all these other side stories that shows up. There's all this, there's, I don't want to spoil it, because a lot of you might not have the DVD, but they keep bringing these side stories in. There's Lois Lane, who doesn't believe that Superman, is Clark at first. But overall, as someone who read that series, it was very good. I thought Dwayne McDuffie had done a hell of a job with it, and he's the last, that was his last work, so he could rest in peace, knowing he gave that good series out. And so
I felt that the makers of that made that primarily for the fans of that particular series. It's not made for the regular general comic book fans or Superman fans. You have to be a fan of this series to really appreciate it.
It was huge. It was huge. Grant Morrison did a hell of a job on that series, and he's already said there's going to be another. He's probably going to work on it down the road, but it took 3 years to get 12 issues out. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he'll get the next 12 issues out. But with his schedule, he's like writing Batman. He's writing Batman Incorporated. He's doing that multiverse project. He's working on DC, and he's got something else going. And guy's busy.
And last but not least, I wanted to include this in this video. It's not a movie, but I just thought it was very cool to kind of along the same lines. But it's not a movie. I recently ordered this online. Got it for a very low price, very reasonable price, and it's the Horror Movie Freak movie guide. Even comes with a free bonus disc of Night of the Living Dead. And George Romero himself says that this is an excellent guide for horror movie freaks. And it's a very cool book. It runs through it's basically horror movies 101, and it goes from way back to up to modern day horror. Gives you a rundown on just about, there's going all the way back to the 20s and 30s, to the original Dracula, all the way up to I think it was as recent as Trick or Treat, the recent Trick or Treat movie.
What year did that come out?
Trick or Treat?
Yeah.
Trick or Treat came out what, 2007?
9?
I think it was that recent.
Oh, I thought it was 2009.
It might be 2008.
That's about 2008, sounds right. Yeah, it might be 2008.
9 years of movies, man, it's pretty good.
Oh, wait a minute, you're right, Scott. It was released in 2009.
No, but it was made before that.
Yeah.
What was it?
But it's a very cool book. It's got lots of really cool color photos. Near Dark, one of my all-time favorite vampire movies. It's got a lot of very cool information, about the movies, who directed it, who wrote it, starred in it, when it was released.
Ooh, The Shining.
The Blair Witch, Carrie, Seven, and I'll just run down here in the content. I'll show you some of the chapters, what makes a good horror movie great, the essential horror movie categories. Aberrations in Nature, Aliens in Outer Space, Asian Horror, Beginner's Shelf, the classics, Universal Horror, Hammer Horror, Evil from Hell, Foreign Horror, Ghost Stories, Homicidal Slashers, Monsters, Psychotics, Supernatural Thrillers, Vampires, Zombie Invasions, Honorable Mentions, Remake Nations, Modernizations of Remakes, Reimaginings, Foreign Horror for the U.S. audience, and Scream Queens, 10 Days to Halloween, and it's just some of the juicy goodness in the Horror Movie Freak video guide. Yeah. But, I think that's going to about wrap it up for this update. As always, thank you for tuning in and watching. I appreciate it. And as always, I am Evil Eddie, also known as Cyber Ray 1976. With me is
Well, me, Richard, ECW fan. It's almost 9 o'clock and time for The Rock to show up, so that'll be it.
and with that, we're going to bid you adieu. Thanks for watching.